What do you want? Are you looking for food? Are you just gonna stare into my soul until I give you something? So serious. Come here. Hey, it's Annika here with Sniff Dog. So you've got a new puppy and you don't know where to start with your training. Today I'm gonna give you the 3 top training skills you need to teach your new dog in the first week that you have them. At Sniff Dog, we're here to teach you how to speak dog. If you can have a better understanding of your dog, you can have a relationship built off trust and fun. We want to come on this wonderful journey of pet ownership with you to help empower the love and connection between you and your pup. All right, I know in the first few days of having your dog, you really probably aren't prioritizing training at this point, but prevention is everything. With dogs, whether they're puppies or adults, these 3 skills are actually really important that you teach them and can in fact be life-saving. Before we get started with today's video, I just want to give a very quick and due shout out to Jupiter the Bernedoodle. Thank you so much for the continued support. And as always, give them some love on Instagram. They have been great supporters of ours and have worked with them personally. Lovely, lovely people with a very special boy in their hands. If you want to be a featured pet on our YouTube videos, make sure that you like us on Instagram and tell us in the comment section what you want to learn more about. As always, don't forget to download the training tip sheet. I made it for you. And stay to the end, we've got bloopers. Today's 3 training tips are: teach your dog the name game, teach your dog watch me, and teach your dog leave it. I get it. Training can feel like homework a lot of the time, and truth be told, I actually don't love training too many things with my own dogs. I'm pretty simple. I train them the basics that we need to enjoy our life together and have lots of freedom together, but all the fancy stuff just isn't so much for me. Don't worry, I'll tell you how to do the fancy stuff in coming videos, but let's keep it simple to start. The first and most important 3 skills that I think you should work on with your new dog are the name game, leave it, and watch me. What you're gonna need for today's video are a bunch of tiny little breakable treats about the size of half your pinky fingernail. Let's get to tip number 1. Teach your dog the name game. Now, your dog obviously doesn't come to you knowing their name, and the problem is we say their name all the time. The more you use their name, the less they actually know that it's a word that's meaningful to them. So, what I recommend people do is practice the name game about 10 times a day with food rewards so that your dog starts to hear that word and respond to it, knowing it's in their best interest to turn their head and pay attention when they hear their name. Remember, when dogs hear us speaking, I believe that it sounds to them a lot like this. If their name is said all the time without there being something good for them at the end of responding to it, they begin to learn that that word doesn't mean very much to them. In the first few days with your dog, make sure that you play the name game in the house to start. Once you start to see that they're recognizing that word and they are responding to it by turning their head, you can start to practice the name game outside, maybe in a yard or a hallway or a lobby, on a walk, on a 6-foot leash, etc. But don't move it outside till you're getting a sure response from them inside. Cedar. Yes. Good boy. Cedar. Yes. Good boy. Birds are really hard to look at me away from. Cedar. Yes. Good boy. Now, during your dog's mealtime is actually a really good time to practice this game to get a few repetitions in throughout the day. You can do it breakfast and dinner. Primarily, if your dog is eating kibble, you can use the kibble as the reward for them responding to this game. If you're feeding your dog raw, obviously you can't do that, so you can go ahead and use some treats that aren't the most favored treats by your dog, because there's going to be a lot given to them very easily throughout the day for simply responding to their name. Since Cedar eats raw today, we are using Yes chicken liver treats. Go ahead and give them a like on Instagram too. They are local to Vancouver. A client of mine started a brand new treat company, and they are fantastic quality little baby training treats. So to start the name game off, I'm gonna make sure that the treats are hidden. When Cedar is not looking at me, I'm gonna call his name 1 time. When he looks at me with a little bit of a head turn, I'm gonna say the magic yes word and then toss a treat across the room. By tossing the treat across the room, I'm inviting him to disengage from me, just so that I can ask him to re-engage with me by calling his name again. So I start by tossing him a freebie across the floor. Cedar, yes. When his head turns and faces me, I say yes, and I toss again. Cedar, yes. Cedar, yes. Notice I did not repeat his name when he didn't look at me. I made noises instead. So if they get stuck staring at you like he is right now, you can just turn your body away, look in a different direction, or you can toss them a freebie just to get them to leave you and then start again. Cedar, yes. He's like, well, this is easy. So once you practice the name game in every room in your house and you're ready to transition it outside, I'd recommend that you start using it in real life, calling their name off of distractions or really calling them to get their attention when you need it, once they've honed the skill inside to start. Secondly to that, don't stop feeding them for responding to their name until you've had them for a few weeks and they're really quite familiar with that word itself, their name, meaning good things for them, such as these delicious liver treats. When calling your dog's name throughout the day, make sure that you're not overusing it. Even if you play the name game 10 times a day and then you use your dog's name in real life scenarios 100 times a day, they'll probably still likely learn to ignore that word. So avoid being what we would call a parrot and sounding like this. Cedar, 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 cedar. If cedar doesn't work the first time, you need to make noises and gestures and movements to try to entice your dog to come to you versus continuing simply to repeat their name. That is very annoying for them. And if you haven't put it together yet, I'll just tell you straight up, your dog responding to their name is sort of like this invisible safety line that lives between the two of you. So if your dog runs out the door and they don't listen to their name being called, then they don't have the incentive to listen to the next word that happens, which would usually be come. So teaching your dog to value and respond to when their name is being called is sort of like the foundation of all of your training moving forward. Let's move to tip number 2. Training tip number 2 is to train your dog watch me. Watch me is a very similar behavior that you see in the name game. It's your dog turning their head and looking at you when you ask them to. Because you are bound to use your dog's name too often, we train watch me as sort of a plan B behavior for your dog to offer instead of doing other things. Now, watch me is usable on walks primarily when your dog has high prey drive, they like to stare at other dogs and potentially bark at other dogs. If your dog ends up reactive on the leash at all, or obsessed with kids or bikers or skateboards or rollerbladers, watch me is a really wonderful tool to use on the walk with your dog long term once they're a little older and easily distracted by things to replace problematic behaviors. Now, watch me, we will start with what we call a food lure, which is using a treat in your fingers to show them what you want them to do. After a few repetitions of that, we're gonna get rid of that treat. Your hand looks the same, but there's no treat in it anymore. So the watch me exercise looks like this to start. I'm gonna say the cue and then point to my eyes with a treat in my hand. When Cedar does it, I'm gonna say yes and then give him the treat. What are you doing? Watch me. Stick the treat straight to his nose, lure it up to my eyes, yes, and then feed it. It's okay that he sat. I don't really care if he sits. I just want to make sure he's looking at me when I ask him to. I have one treat in my hand. I'm going to say the cue first. Cedar, watch me. Straight from his nose to my eyes, yes, and then feed. He's doing really well with it. It's a pretty easy thing for him to do at this point, so I'm going to make my hands look like there's a treat in it, but there's no treat anymore. Watch me. From his nose to my eyes, yes, and then I reach for the treat and give it to him. As long as your yes word is happening at the right time, he or your dog is understanding that the eye contact they're giving you is causing the food. They don't have to hold eye contact for longer than a couple of seconds. It's okay if they look at you and then look away. To start, we just want 1 to 2 seconds of eye contact before we say yes and then feed. I'll show you again one more time. My hand signal is going to get a little smaller now, less like there's a treat in it and more just pointing, because long term, I probably just want to point straight to my eyes versus from his nose to my eyes. Cedar, watch me. Yes. Quick tip before we end today's video, I want to remind you that training doesn't have to be homework. You don't have to squeeze in half an hour of training time with your dog every day. Cedar and I do training 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there, all throughout our day, integrated and weaved into our activities so it doesn't feel like homework for either me or him. For most dogs and puppies, short, multiple training sessions a day is actually what's gonna help them remember all these little details you're giving them. Have fun, happy training, and tag us in your videos training your dog. Thank you so much for watching today's video. As always, we appreciate your continued support. If you're watching from YouTube, make sure that you like, subscribe, and press the notify button so you find out when our new videos come out every week. If you're watching from Facebook, share, like, leave us a comment about what you want to learn more about. And on Instagram, don't forget to follow us. I give lots of free little tidbits of training information every single day. Oh, PS, download the training tip sheet. Now enjoy the bloopers. I need to do like a dance party warm up for today's video. If you want to be in... Now, if your dog eats kibble, you can go ahead and try to use this